My life was a tranquil pond, reflecting a clear blue sky. My husband, Mark, was my rock, our home, a haven. Days were filled with his laughter, the scent of baking bread, the warmth of our shared dreams. I was content, fulfilled, blissfully unaware that the ground beneath my feet was about to crack, revealing a chasm of secrets. It began, innocently enough, with the arrival of new neighbors. The air was filled with the buzz of anticipation and curiosity. The house next door, vacant for years, suddenly sprang to life. It was as if the entire neighborhood had been holding its breath, waiting for this moment. A moving van disgorged furniture, boxes, the remnants of another family's story. Each item carried a piece of their past, now blending into our community. I baked a welcome cake, eager to extend a hand of friendship. It was a tradition in our neighborhood, a gesture of goodwill and warmth. Little did I know this simple act would unravel everything. It was the beginning of a series of events that would change my life forever. My first glimpse of him was through the window. He was unpacking boxes, his movements deliberate and precise. He was tall, with hair as dark as a raven's wing. His presence was commanding, almost magnetic. His eyes, though, were what startled me. A piercing blue, they seemed to see right through me, holding a depth of knowledge that belied his youthful appearance. A piercing blue, they seemed to hold a depth of knowledge that belied his youthful appearance. There was something enigmatic about him, something that drew me in.
Hi, I'm Ethan. His voice was smooth, confident, and carried a hint of something I couldn't quite place.
He introduced himself as Ethan, his smile charming, disarming. It was the kind of smile that made you feel instantly at ease, yet left you wanting to know more. He accepted the cake, his gaze lingering on me a beat too long. There was an intensity in his eyes that made my heart race. Discomfort pricked at me, but I brushed it off. I told myself it was just the nerves of meeting someone new. Just first meeting jitters, I told myself. How wrong I was. That moment marked the beginning of a journey I never anticipated, one filled with unexpected twists and turns. Ethan's behavior escalated. He started appearing at the grocery store, the library, even my favorite coffee shop, always with that unnerving smile. Each encounter felt like a violation. My safe spaces now infiltrated. Sleep offered no escape, my nights plagued by nightmares of piercing blue eyes and clutching hands. Mark, bless his heart, remained oblivious. He attributed my jumpiness to stress, urging me to relax, to give Ethan a chance. But I knew the truth. Ethan was dangerous, obsessed, and I was running out of time. Desperate, I started digging into Ethan's past. I spent hours, days even, scouring every corner of the internet. My online searches yielded nothing, not a single trace, as if he'd materialized from thin air. The more I learned, or rather didn't learn, the deeper the knot in my stomach grew. Who was he? Why was there no record of him anywhere? And what did he want from me? One afternoon, while Mark was at work, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. I decided to confront Ethan. I needed answers, and I needed them now. Armed with nothing but my growing fear, I marched next door, determined to demand answers. My heart raced with every step, but when I reached his front door, a chill ran down my spine. It was unlocked. Hesitantly, I pushed it open, my heart pounding in my chest. The silence was deafening. My heart was pounding so loudly I was sure it would give me away. The house was eerily silent. No signs of life, no sounds, just an unsettling stillness. Dust motes danced in the slivers of sunlight that pierced through the drawn curtains. As I stepped inside, the air felt thick, almost suffocating. A floorboard creaked beneath my foot, the sound amplified in the stillness, echoing through the empty rooms. The echo seemed to linger, adding to the eerie atmosphere. And that's when I saw it. A photo album lying open on the coffee table. Curiosity, or perhaps morbid fascination, drew me to it. I couldn't resist the urge to look inside to see what secrets it held. As I turned the pages, I felt a growing sense of dread. The photos were old, faded, and yet they seemed to tell a story I was now a part of. My hands trembled as I realized the implications. Who was Ethan really, and what had I stumbled upon? My breath hitched. The photo album was filled with pictures of me, at the park, at the grocery store, even sleeping peacefully in my own bed. Panic seized me, my blood turning to ice. He'd been watching me, stalking me for God knows how long. Turning the page, my eyes fell on a photo that made my heart stop. It was a picture of a young couple, their arms wrapped around a laughing toddler. The toddler was me. But the couple, they weren't my parents, not the ones I knew, the ones I loved. These faces were strangers. My head spun, the room tilting precariously. I stumbled back, knocking against a table, sending a vase crashing to the floor. The noise seemed to reverberate through the silent house, a deafening announcement of my presence. Footsteps, heavy and purposeful, coming from the hallway. Adrenaline surged through me, overriding the fear. I had to get out, now. I bolted for the front door, my hand reaching for the knob just as a voice rang out.
Leaving so soon?
I whirled around to face him. He was standing in the hallway, his face half shrouded in shadow. But his eyes, those piercing blue eyes, held a glint of something cold and calculating. Terror, primal and consuming, gripped me. What do you want?
Oh, just to show you the truth about who you are.
He advanced and I backed away, my mind a whirlwind of confusion and fear. Who was he? Why did he have pictures of me? And what was the meaning of that photo, that impossible photo of me with strangers?
You're confused. Let me explain. It's time you knew the truth about your life.
He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small silver locket. It was identical to the one I wore every day. The one my mother, the woman who raised me, gave me on her deathbed. The one she said had belonged to my biological mother. Where did you get that?
From her, of course. From your mother.
My knees buckled. My mother. He knew my mother? But that was impossible. My mother was dead. She died when I was 10. It was then, in that dusty, silent house, that the cracks in my perfect life shattered completely, the pieces of my reality scattering like broken glass.
You're lying.
I whispered, even as a part of me knew he wasn't. It was the only explanation that made sense. The photos, the locket, the way he looked at me, like he knew me, knew something I didn't.
Your mother didn't die, not really. She left you, left everything behind to start a new life.
No. I shook my head, tears blurring my vision. She wouldn't. She loved me.
She made me promise. Promise to find you, to tell you the truth when the time was right.
He told me everything. How my mother had been involved in a dangerous game, a world of secrets and lies. How she'd been forced to choose between her safety and mine. How she'd begged him, her brother, to watch over me from the shadows. The room spun. My life, the life I thought I knew, was a lie. The people I loved, the memories I cherished, all tainted by this revelation. My parents, the couple in the photo, were still alive. They hadn't abandoned me. They'd been forced to give me up, to keep me safe. And Ethan, the creepy, obsessive neighbor, was my uncle, entrusted with the impossible task of watching over me from afar. Days turned into weeks. Weeks I barely remember, lost in a haze of shock and grief. The life I'd built, the identity I'd embraced, crumbled away, revealing a raw, vulnerable core. The pain of my mother's betrayal was a gaping wound. The knowledge that she was alive, out there somewhere, a bittersweet torment. Ethan, my uncle, stayed by my side. He explained everything, filled in the missing pieces of my history, of my mother's past. He told me about the danger, the reason for the secrets, the lies. I learned about my parents, my real parents, and the sacrifices they had made for me. Learned about the life that could have been, the life that was stolen. The truth, as they say, sets you free. But what they don't tell you is that freedom can be both a blessing and a curse. Sometimes freedom is a terrifying, exhilarating thing. It pushes you out of your comfort zone and forces you to confront the unknown. I was faced with a choice, to cling to the familiar comfort of my old life, the life built on a foundation of lies, or to embrace the unknown, to seek out my parents, to confront the past and claim my future. The decision weighed heavily on me, but deep down I knew what I had to do. The journey ahead would be long, fraught with uncertainty and pain. There would be moments of doubt, times when I would question my resolve. But for the first time in what felt like forever, I felt a flicker of hope. A hope that maybe, just maybe, I could find the answers I was looking for. The hope of finding my family, of learning who I was meant to be. The hope of reconnecting with the people who were a part of my past and understanding the role they played in shaping my future. The hope of finally understanding the truth that had changed everything. It was a daunting task, but one that I was ready to undertake. I took a deep breath, the crisp morning air filling my lungs. It was a moment of clarity, a moment where everything seemed to fall into place. It was a new day, the start of a new chapter. A chapter that I would write with courage and determination. And I was ready to write it, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead and to embrace the journey with an open heart and an open mind.